Put a finger down if at the age of 15 you were walking home from school and one of your mom's old best friends that she doesn't speak to anymore because like 5 years prior they got into a really bad, well, they beat each other's ass, and your mother was pregnant at the time with twins and she lost one of the babies, so they don't speak anymore. And this woman sees you walking home from school and she stops you on the street and proceeds to get out the car and gives you a big hug and says, how have you been, have they told you yet? And you're like, have they told me what? And she's like, so and so is not your father, so and so is. And you're like, what? And she's like, yeah, that's not your dad. So then you go home and your dad coincidentally is actually at your house that day, because him and your mom are no longer together. And so you tell your mom, hey, I saw so and so said, that ain't my daddy. And your mother says, that bitch has always been jealous of me. And your dad says, you've always been mine. But you don't think nothing of it, and you just go on with your day, and that's the end of that. And so fast forward, you're like 22 years old and you're hanging out with your uncle, and your uncle is telling you about a trip he recently went on to Vegas and about an old friend he saw, and he says this name, and you're like, you've heard that name before. So you're like, hey, what's his last name? So while he's talking, you Google this man and you see a picture of him, and you like, damn, this nigga looks like me. And you tell your uncle, hey, this man looks like me. And your uncle looks at the picture and he's like, nah, you're tripping. So then later that night, your uncle gets really drunk and he starts thinking about it, and he's like, this actually is probably possible. So he sends this man a message on Facebook and he's like, hey, Jazz thinks you're her daddy. And he says, oh my God, I thought about her this entire time. So you're at work the next day minding your business at Nordstrom trying to get these commission sales, and you get a text message like, hey Jazz, this is so and so. Let's not be hasty. Let's take a paternity test first. Whole day fucked up. So you guys take a paternity test, and a few weeks later, lo and motherfucking behold, you go from thinking you are a black woman with 2 black parents to now having a black parent and an Armenian parent. Put a finger down.